Hello and welcome back to Mark's House and Garden, and as you can probably see, I'm not in my garden again because I'm at Biddulph Grange, one of the National Trust properties quite near where I live. And I'm going to give you a video with a difference today because it's not necessarily about the garden and plants, because today I'm going to be looking at some of the incredible stonework that we can find at Biddulph Grange. And this is all part of my drive to try and be more mindful and notice things. And I have to say, if I were to try and buy one piece of carved stone for my garden, I would probably find it financially out of reach. But here at Biddulph Grange there are hundreds of little pieces of stonemasonry dotted around this beautiful garden, and I'm going to look at those in detail today and share them with you in this video. This is one of the benefits of being a member of the National Trust. You pay one fee and you get access to hundreds of gardens across the country. And I've come back to Biddulph Grange now 4 or 5 times in the last 12 months, and today, because it's spring and because there aren't an abundance of flowers to look at, we're going to focus at the stonework. Let's go and do that right now. And here we have constructed a beautiful tower with an archway, and we'll go through that archway in a moment. But just look at this seat here, carved purely from stone. And you can see in this wet weather it brings out some of the deeper colours, but all over there are little, what I think are lichens attached to this seat. And look out over there, the view that it commands down over this topiary garden. And I've just promised you that we'd venture inside this archway, so let's do that right now, inside that tower. And I have just changed the exposure on the camera to reveal this wonderful masonry. But look at that archway there, and look at the view it gives us down into the garden beyond. One of the incredible things about Biddulph Grange are these yew hedges. They look like stone from a distance, but they're not. They're made out of yew, perfectly carved. And look at that avenue down there. Now I know, because I've been before, that these beds are about to erupt with thousands of tulips. Well worth another visit in the near future. Now let's have a look at these lovely lollipop trees over here, but let's focus in on these stone retaining planters around the base of each. Look at that. Again, the work that's gone into that, but very often I'm quite sure they will go unnoticed as people focus on the plants in the garden. And here, in what feels very much like an Egyptian themed garden, we are greeted by these statues of sphinxes, I would describe them as. But again, look at them, there are 4 of them, one there, another there, and 2 on either side of that wonderful beech hedge gateway. Again, carved, probably hundreds of hours of people hours gone into making these, and here they are, really setting the scene in this Egyptian style garden. And up there, a stone archway which probably gets walked under thousands of times without even being noticed. But again, some nice work has gone into that. Now, just inside this tunnel we have a little surprise. Let's go in there and see if we can get the camera exposure correct so that we can see it. Can you see the lovely terracotta tiles beneath our feet? Beautiful red walls, and then up in the distance, an Inca terracotta stone dog of some description. Now I might have to fiddle with the exposure on the camera. Can you see him there in the shadows? School holidays at the moment, which is why you can hear lots of children enjoying themselves in the background. Now let's go along the mile walk. They call it a mile walk, I think, but I don't think it's a mile long, but it's a place where the family used to promenade, I think, after dinner, or ride their horses. It goes up a hill, and at the top of the hill there's something quite special in stone to have a look at. Well, unfortunately we've been foiled in our attempts to walk all the way along the mile walk by this sign here, which says keep out. They've clearly just replaced or resurfaced the path along there. But I know another way down that path there through a woodland walk, so we'll go that way and we will reach, because right there at the point of perspective in the distance where all these lines meet, there's something to look at. Well, unfortunately, after that lovely walk through the woodland walk, I've been foiled again because I can't get inside there to see it, but there's a bench here, so if I step on that, maybe we can have a look. Now, I can't give you an idea of perspective, but I'm 6 foot tall and that's 3 foot above my head, so that is an enormous urn, and I don't know if you can see it. I hope you can. Let's see if we can have a peek through the hedge and see it. And there it is. Absolutely amazing. How has that been carved out of a piece of stone? I don't know. Let's go back into the garden and have a look. Some of the other stonework at Biddulph Grange. And this little building they call Cheshire Cottage. Look at the stone chimney up there. A stone walled rose garden with a circular path, a circular centre bed lined with dressed stone, and probably each of these carved by hand back in the day. I don't know. Again, imagine the work that goes into this. It's as smooth as a table. The house here is divided up into private apartments, and that's their private balcony. Down here next to the main pond, the fish pond, there's several very large koi carp in there. You don't see them at this time of year. There is an urn on a plinth, or a stepped plinth. Look at that. Is it an urn or is it a font carved into it? Little faces lined with lead and planted with tulips. Spring is just around the corner, but look, more stonework. Balustrades carved from stone that line this path here. Stone bench, and around we go. There we go, a little duck. But look at these fascinating stone steps that lead down to the water's edge, and a stone throw from that font. Look at that clipped yew dome, isn't it perfection? And around the base of it, beautiful stone carved wall. Again, so many of these features, they're part of the vernacular, part of the landscape, but oftentimes I think we just miss these little details, or I do anyway, can't speak for everyone. Things like the moss that grows on these things, and then leading back to the main house, symmetrical, ordered, linear path which belies the view beyond into the distance. And now my final visit to a piece of stoneware at Biddulph Grange. This is a lime walk. Look at that, beautiful scalloped edges around the lawn going along, and these beautiful mature trees. The lawn is cordoned off for protection in this damp weather, but sat right at the very end of it, a stone seat with a stone canopy. So I can imagine back in the day, people walking the garden, a sudden rainpour, you can sit beneath this and look down there into the distance. Isn't it wonderful? But just look, hidden away in the bush now, a holly bush, these beautifully carved pieces of stone. tiny little details everywhere. Quite wonderful. So do visit Biddulph Grange if you get the chance. I think it's probably one of my favourite gardens, and I'm very fortunate because it really is only 20 minutes away from where I live. And they do things all year round for interest, like at the moment they've got a Chinese New Year trail where you can bring your children and follow signposts all around the garden.